Hi everyone, it's Julianne here for Hedgehog Hollow and welcome back. Today I'm going to be showing you how I created this Sugar Skull Square Shaker card using some of the products that are included in the September 2020 subscription box. The supplies I'm going to be using for my card today include the Day of the Dead word stamp set, the Sugar Skull die set, as well as the Sugar Skulls 6x8 stamp set. I will also be using the Sugar Skulls pattern paper by Whimsy Stamps, but I will show you that later on in the video. So let's get started. To start out, I trimmed down a piece of black cardstock as well as a piece of Express It blending cardstock to 5 1/4 by 5 1/4 to create my square card. And I'm going to be stamping one of the larger Sugar Skull images that are included in the Sugar Skull stamp set. And I'm going to be stamping that down onto my Express It blending cardstock first using some Memento Tuxedo black ink so that way I can do some Copic coloring. Once I have that all stamped out, I'm then going to put that black piece of cardstock into my MISTI as well. And without moving the stamp, I'm going to be stamping that image down on there as well. Now I know you can't really see the image on this black cardstock, but I just need to be able to see just enough to know where to place my Sugar Skull outline die in order to create my shaker window for my card. Once I have that die all lined up, I'm just going to be adhering it down using some washi tape. And then I'm just going to run that through my die cutting machine. Now that I have my image all stamped out, I'm going to start working on my Copic coloring. Now I did already do the basic shading for the skull in order to keep it white but still add some dimension to it off camera. But I am going to be showing you the colors that I used here, and I will have them listed down at the bottom if you are interested. Now I did mention earlier that I am going to be using the Sugar Skull pattern paper pad from Whimsy Stamps. I just love this pattern paper. It's super cute and I thought it was perfect for my card. I just love all the different patterns that it has and I wanted to include them into my card as well as using one of them as the inspiration for my colors. So I decided on this bright pattern paper here and I'm going to be coloring in the Sugar Skull to match. I am going to be speeding up my coloring so that it doesn't take up too much time in this video, but as always I'm going to have all of my marker caps off to the side so you can follow along and I'll be right back. Now that I have everything colored in, now comes the fun part, which is going to be adding in all of the pretty embellishments that will make up my shaker. From Trinity Stamps, I'm going to be using the Jazz Hands Confetti Mix, as well as the Gold Eclipse Gold Rhinestone Mix, and I will also be using some small clear sequins as well. So I'm just going to be adding a few of each sequin mix to the center of my skull, and I'm going to be making sure that I'm only using the smaller pieces in each set. That way they will be able to move around freely in my shaker, as well as not covering up too much of my skull because I still want to be able to see it. So once I feel as though I have enough sequins in my shaker, I'm then going to be attaching the front part of my shaker, which I did add a piece of acetate as well as some foam adhesive to, and I'm just going to be adhering that down directly over that skull. This is why I originally trimmed them down to the same size, and I also stamped the image in the same spot so that lining them up would be super easy. So once I have that all adhered, you can now see all the beautiful embellishments moving around in my shaker with that sugar skull. I just love how this turned out. Now before I adhere my shaker down to my card base, I want to add some of the sugar skull images to the inside of my card as well. So I'm going to be taking 3 of the smaller sugar skull images from the sugar skull stamp set, and I'm going to be stamping them down the left-hand side of my card using 3 inks from Catherine Puller, Tiara, Flirty Fuchsia, and finally All That Jazz. And I'm just going to be stamping them one after the other. I think that these colors are perfect and they match the colors that I used on the outside of my card. I just love these images. It's really amazing how much detail they have in each one of them. So in order to get a really good impression, I'm just going to be stamping each of them 2 times in order to get a solid outline. I have recently started adding images and sentiments onto the inside of my cards, and I really think it's a nice touch, as well as you really get to stretch your stamps a little further without having to worry about coloring them in. So once I get all of those stamped out, then I'm just going to start working on assembling the rest of my card. Next, I took one of the sentiments from the Day of the Dead sentiment stamp set, and I did gold heat emboss that onto some teal colored cardstock that I thought would match my card. And I'm going to be adhering that down to my card in the bottom right-hand corner using some liquid adhesive. And then I'm going to be adhering my shaker down to my card base, where I did also adhere that pattern paper that I showed you earlier. And I'm going to be adhering that in the center of that pattern paper, so that way a bit of the pattern appears on each side of my card. So once I have that all adhered, that's going to complete my Sugar Skull shaker card for today. I just love how this card came out, and I love those gold rhinestones in my shaker. I want to thank you all so much for stopping by and spending some time with me. If you liked this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, as well as subscribe for even more card making ideas. If you are interested in any of the supplies I used today, I will have them all listed and linked down below in the description box. And as always, I hope you have a wonderful day and happy crafting!